can't allow them to be comfortable enough, the Sharia Islam, to just take over parts of town. And all of a sudden you have no-go zones, and then the police are afraid to go in there, and then you have London, then you have Paris. No-go zones. He said, quote, "I was just going to keep driving and driving and driving. I wasn't going to stop," unquote, Henry told authorities, according to a court document filed. What a special guy. Special guy. Well, I'm telling you, there's a lot of that going on in the United States as we have massive immigration issues and chain migration and people being radicalized in Sharia mosque in America. That doesn't make me Islamophobic. That makes me aware that there's a portion of Islam that wants to kill all infidels in obedience to the Hadith and the Quran. Well, that's not the proper interpretation. Well, hey, guess what? I'm not the one that's interpreting it that way. There's, let's say, 5% of Islam interprets the Quran and the Hadith the way that the Islamists do. And there's 1.5 billion Muslims. That's a lot. That's 750,000 people, I think. I'm tired. It's late. A lot of people in Islam that want to kill you if you're an infidel. So if they set up shop in the U.S., just like they set up shop in London and Germany and all these other places, then I think we need to have some discussions about this instead of just sitting around trying to be so politically correct that we're going to end up like over in Germany right now, where the Muslims are actually asking for a speech czar to go after anybody that speaks out against Islam. In just Germany is what I'm talking about, just like in England. When I was over in Germany several years ago with my wife, they had the encampments of all of the non-assimilated and the new Muslim refugees outside the cities. And then we left in December. That January, they start coming in the cities, and it's gone downhill since then. We have to make decisions in our country. We do. If 99% of the terrorism in the world is one religion, then we need to speak to those that are moderates, the ones that don't play out or follow all of the teachings, and say, what do we do if somebody wants to say, I am following all the tenets, and that we can get a consensus from the typical Muslim that those tenets are actually terrorist interpretations of their book, regardless if the verses are in there. I'm not going. That's another show. But let's say they're ambiguous, which I don't think they are, but let's say they are. If the consensus is that the way the verses are interpreted by the Islamists, we should have a right as a community to say, you cannot practice terrorism. It's not stopping your religion. The way you're interpreting is terroristic, and you're not going to do it. You're not going to have meetings propagating killing people. But I heard an imam years ago, one of the ones that hate you and me, that said, we're going to use the U.S. Constitution to destroy the U.S. Constitution. I know. You're so Islamophobic. No. Now, I am afraid. I'm afraid of radicalized terrorists, what they can do to my family, to other Americans, to people around the world. Yes, there's a natural, normal fear of what a crazy, deluded, brainwashed person will do. And when there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of them, then I think we have got to talk about it, because this guy, if not caught, this guy from Germantown, Maryland, Rondell Henry, then he would have been able to just, I was just going to keep driving and driving and driving. I wasn't going to stop, quote unquote. He was just going to keep running people over. He wanted to be like Nice, where maybe kill 86 people, including children, and hurt another 450 people. For what reason? Because the way he looks at the Quran, infidels, if the since are not converting to Islam, they need to die. Because that's what Allah wants. I'm not going over interpretations of the verses. I'm saying that has to be dealt with. Last story I want to cover tonight. And again, if you're just joining me, I'm going to be going on mojo50.com, 11 o'clock. I'll be an hour later, 11 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 o'clock in the morning East Coast, starting next Monday. So the remainder of this week, I will not be doing a show, as I'm going to be redoing my intros and updating my logos and stuff to reflect the new network I'm going to be on. But you can always go on magabook.com or listen to my shows on Spreaker. The shows I've already done. But there's plenty. I mean, I'm going to be posting on Twitter, Facebook, Magabook. So I'll still be doing things, maybe a couple small videos, but I won't be doing the show until starting Monday. All right, I want to finish with this. One thing about America is that we've always had since the Bill of Rights, we've had the First Amendment. And since we started primarily as a Judeo-Christian nation, which meant a majority of people were believers in God. Most of them were Quakers or Puritans or just Protestants. Yes, there were some deists, but don't go down that path with me. We're not talking small percentages. I'm talking the majority. Christianity was, the church was the psychiatric center. It was the welfare center. It was kind of the social services of the communities. Homosexuality in the Bible, unless you want to torture the scriptures and say they don't apply because you want to be homosexual, they're pretty straightforward. So somebody wants to be a practicing homosexual and they don't believe in God, in America, more power to you. The problem is that now there's more people in America that are atheists than are just simply Christians. But now we have a guy running for president who's an open homosexual, who quote-unquote married somebody, and his name is Pete Buttigieg. He was on Meet the Press. This is from Breitbart.com. Buttigieg, quote, hypocrisy of evangelicals supporting Trump is unbelievable. So he goes on to say, it's something that frustrates me because the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Here you have somebody that is not only acts in a way that's not consistent with anything I hear in Scripture or church. Remember, it says a practicing Marxist homosexual, but about lifting up the least among us and taking care of strangers, and another word for immigrants, and making sure that you are focusing your efforts on the poor. Also, personally, how are you supposed to conduct yourself? Not chest pumping, looking at me-isms, but humbling yourself among others. Foot washing is a central image in the New Testament. We see a diametric opposite of that in this presidency. What's interesting, this guy is right. He's going to be the peace guy, right? He's going to be the feet washer. You don't look at my sexual preferences because you're misinterpreting. Here's an article from CBS News. Here's this Buttigieg again. He challenges, though, VP Pence, Vice President Pence. So here's a guy that wants kumbaya. Christians are hypocrites for supporting Trump, President Trump. But he's now is calling out Vice President Pence. It says he challenges Pence on LGBTQ ABC rights. Quote, your quarrel is with my creator. He said this openly gay mayor of South Bend, Indiana, delivered a pointed message for Vice President Pence on Sunday, telling him to raise his objections with the gay community with God. Well, sorry, Mayor. God made man and woman. You shall not lie with the man as you lie with the woman. Repent. All right, well, thanks for listening. This has been The Informant. My name is Eric Thompson. Again, magabook.com. Make sure, Monday, 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, mojo50.com. I'll see you then. Have a great week, and take care.